Hello and welcome to What Culture Gaming. I'm Rich and I'm here with a brand new review just for you, channeling my inner Jules. I'm very, very tired. It is E3 week after all, but there is also some other stuff happening, and by that I mean dinosaurs and stuff like that. Last week I went to go and see Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom with Mr. Cleary and Ash. There are links in the description below to take you to the main channel to look at our coverage of that. And just very quickly, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is fine, but Jurassic World Evolution isn't fine. It's better than fine. In fact, Jurassic World Evolution is exceptional. Lovingly bred by the folks over at Frontier Developments, yes, the people behind Planet Coaster, they do know how to make a park sim, and boy, howdy, do they know how to make one with dinosaurs in it. But past all the praise you hear from me when I talk about Planet Coaster, Jurassic World Evolution isn't just Planet Coaster with dinosaurs in it. It takes a park sim and pushes it in a whole new direction. Mechanically, it's completely different to anything I've played before, and quite frankly, Frontier have absolutely nailed it. So let's get straight into it. You are in charge of building a bunch of Jurassic World parks across Las Cinco Muertes. My Spanish isn't that great, but that does translate to the 5 deaths, 5 islands in the canon of the films first introduced in The Lost World, I believe, Jurassic Park 2. Isla Nublar that you know from Jurassic World, and of course the original Jurassic Park, is present in the game, but it's not part of sort of the main progression. I'll get to that island a little bit later. So in your parks you can build the usual gift shops and food outlets and hotels, staff and security building, and pathways to connect them all. But I know what you're here for. As Mr. Cleary puts it, the dino fun. You can build enclosures entirely from scratch with different types of fences and security measures you unlock as you progress through the game. Standard point-to-point clicking here, it works a treat. So how do you get the dinosaurs? Well, this is where the park sim traits end, and it skews off in its own direction. Life indeed finds a way. After building the relevant facilities, you send out dig crews to a plethora of dig sites around the globe, each with information about which saws your dig crew might come back with fossils and subsequent DNA samples of. Then you extract the DNA to get a chunk of a genome, and rinse and repeat until you get at least 50% of the genome. Then you can get growing. The chances of your dinosaur being successfully incubated is based not only on how much of the pure genome is present, whether you've given it any buffs through that lovely DNA fiddling mechanic, and on how good your creation lab facilities are. If all goes to plan, you can release a dinosaur into your enclosure, and when you do, you get a nice little cutscene and some lovely fitting music. It's all really quite nice. As you progress, you'll unlock more dig sites and therefore find more potential dinosaur DNA. For example, you don't have velociraptors unlocked straight away, but once you get through the first sort of chunk of the game, boom, you can go to China and get some velociraptors, because everywhere needs more velociraptors. They're so safe and cuddly, they're good with kids. Of course, you then need to keep your dinosaurs happy. You can build feeders and make sure your ground crew keep them topped up. Make sure you give them a ton of space to romp around and water to drink. Ensure you've researched cures for the numerous diseases your dinos can contract, because if you don't and one of your ladies' comfort levels depletes, that is where things get fun. A Jurassic World wouldn't be a Jurassic World if the main attractions didn't want to sort of get up and wander to the other end of the park, either to see their dino pals or ride the dodgems or something. When a dinosaur does inevitably break down a fence and try and mingle with the guests, it's all hands on deck. First, you've got your ground crew in a jeep. They need to go and fix the fence ASAP. Then you need to get some crew in a heli and sedate the dinosaur. Now this is where things get cool. In Jurassic World Evolution, you can pilot the helicopter, you can drive the jeeps, you can be the one with the rifle shooting dinosaurs left, right and center. I mean, you can of course just tell the AI what to do, give them a few steps and say, right, do this, 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 this and this, but you could also, you know, do it yourself. Once you've got the dinosaur back in the enclosure, the guests will be happy again and your park rating will rise once again, because, I mean, there's no surprise that people suddenly don't like your park when they're being chased around by hulking great dinosaurs. So this does sound like a lot to take in. So how do you know what to do? Well, you've got 3 division heads along for the ride to help you out. Heads of science, entertainment, and security. Not only will these 3 fully voiced characters lead you through the basics of how to play the game, they'll give you occasional contracts with rewards to help you out financially. After all, it's not really a park sim if you don't sit for 10 minutes just watching your money slowly creep up and then plummet and then slowly creep up again just so you can eventually build another power station. When you complete contracts with these divisions, you earn reputations with the relevant one that you've just helped out. If you neglect one, there's a chance they could try and sabotage the park. This is Jurassic World at the end of the day. The staff aren't always completely trustworthy. There's a good chance one of them might be a gigantic prick or working for somebody else trying to steal dinosaur embryos and stuff like that. Nedry. So they could just leave the gates open to the enclosures or accidentally knock out all the power and subsequently turn off all the electric fences and all of the guest facilities suddenly stop working. Keep them happy and you'll be pretty much okay, but power outages can happen. Storms can roll in and destroy buildings and, of course, fences and things. So in reality, you never really are safe, are you? Once you've met certain targets on this first island, you'll be able to move on to the next. This one has a separate bank account and a whole new bunch of challenges. For example, the next island is a much stormier one, so having a lot of ground crews ready to fix damages and having shelters ready for the guests is a must. The progression system, however, is universal across the game, and it's based on how many research stations you have. You need X research stations or Y fossil centers to be able to research this particular thing. Having multiples of these buildings is only possible by having multiple islands. You can only build one of each on each island, so in order to unlock better equipment, better fences, and better research in terms of genes and upgrades to buildings, you need to progress through the game and unlock more and more islands. For example, when you get to the second island, you can build your second research center and subsequently unlock a bunch of new stuff to research. So a tall observation deck, you couldn't do that to begin with, but now you've got 2 research stations, you absolutely can. It's pretty self-explanatory. More research stations, more stuff to research, more expedition centers, more dig sites unlocked. Seeing as this is a park sim, there is indeed a sandbox mode, and this is where Isla Nublar comes back in. Once you've reached 4 stars on the first island, you unlock this rather large, unlimited fun sandbox. But you still only have whatever you've unlocked accessible to you, so progression and the career mode don't stop dead once you've unlocked this island. As you've seen from the footage on screen, the lighting in Frontier games is impeccable, and the attention to detail when it comes to the models of the buildings and especially the dinosaurs is truly exceptional. And the both soothing and at times disconcerting score fit perfectly to what's happening in your park. Now you'll be surprised to know that since this is a very PC-centric genre, I mean a park sim is pretty much a PC's baby, Jurassic World Evolution is releasing on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and thanks to the beauty of the PC, being able to use any controller input ever made, I had to give the controller support a go to give you, who are going to get this on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, an idea of how well it works. Now in the past, park sims, at least fully fledged park sims on consoles, don't really work too well. Frontier know this themselves after porting Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 to the Xbox to pretty crap reviews. I mean, you use the thumbstick to control a cursor. That sounds horrendous. But this game has been built with consoles in mind. The UI is simple enough to work without a flaw when it comes to using a gamepad, but not so simple that it feels odd to use it with a mouse and keyboard. The camera controls exactly as you'd expect, and all of the shortcuts available to you when using a 100-odd key keyboard are still available to you on the gamepad. Now, of course, if a dinosaur escapes and you're having to frantically send units out to do this, that, and the other, you'll be a little slower than you would be using a mouse, but the controller support is buttery smooth and excellently optimized. So if you're thinking about picking this up for your console, or you, God forbid, want to use that control scheme on PC, you are covered. Now, I've been singing this game's praises, but I do have a few gripes. As I said going in, this isn't just a Planet Coaster clone with dinosaurs thrown into the mix. Things stay on track with park conventions, as I've said so long, and then it skews off in its own direction, but in my opinion it decides to take a right or left turn, whichever way you want, a bit too early. When it comes to your guests, there's very little you can do other than just making sure they remain safe. I mean, you can build hotels and you can build shelters for them when the dinosaurs escape, and of course fast food outlets and gift shops, but that's about it. There's no real guest management, and in a park sim I'd expected at least some of it. It's not a massive gaping hole in the game, but it's something I expected to see. I mean, for example, you can't even place toilets. That's the backbone of Roller Coaster Tycoon, the backbone of Park Sims, putting toilets down. You can't do that in this game. Toilet DLC, Frontier. Toilet DLC. The dinosaurs are indeed your main focus, especially when they get out of their enclosures. You can just push the guests to one side and focus on the dinosaurs, that's great. But when the dinosaurs are quite happily just romping around in their enclosures, it'd be nice to have a bit more to do with the guests. Maybe some DLC, or maybe even just a patch to add in some extra content for guest management would be pretty good, or even just a toggle switch, just flick on guest management, flick it on and off. You can kind of do that in Planet Coaster with staff. Why not do it in this with guests? And as much as the game can drop some pretty hefty surprises on you, the gameplay is rather repetitive. Once you've progressed a bit further and unlocked more dinosaurs that will need some better researched equipment, etc., then you've got your own goals set. But when you're trying to get to that point, it does seem a bit slow and a bit of a drag. Contracts from your division heads do come in quite often, so you'll always have something to do. And even when you're basking in the glory of your many, many dinosaurs, you are always on your toes, because you never know when someone's just going to go, do you know what? Let's go mingle with the guests. As far as criticisms go, that's about it. I mean, in reality, do they hold any weight when you know that Jeff Goldblum just pops up occasionally to narrate what you're doing? I mean, that should just give this game 6 out of 5, surely. The likes of Claire Dearing, voiced by Bryce Dallas Howard, pipes up occasionally too, as well as Owen Grady, who's absolutely not voiced by Chris Pratt. So in conclusion, Jurassic World Evolution is one exceptional park sim. Universal made a bloody good choice giving this to Frontier, the now sort of godfather of park sims. They have made a truly brilliant movie tie-in game. If you're a park sim purist, you'll be catered for. As I've said, there'll appear to be some bits missing if you go in expecting a pure park sim, but it's not so detracting that it feels like a hollow title. If you're not a Tycoon veteran, then you'll have a great time with this too. The game holds your hand just enough to see you through what to do, then drops you right in the deep end, right in the Velociraptor enclosure. The game has excellent controller support, so don't assume that you'll get a lesser experience playing it on a console. Since I'm a PC person, I should feel dirty for saying that, but like I said, they've done such an incredible job of the controller support and how well this will run on console, so I can't really complain. Nicely done, Frontier. A rating out of 5 would be a very solid 4.5 out of 5. Like I said, just that little bit more management that isn't based on dinosaurs would put this probably up to a 5. Like, I've really enjoyed this game. If you like park sims, pick this up. If you're just keen, if you want to like an entryway into a park sim, because like I said, this doesn't go as in-depth as a pure park sim, but it goes so far enough to give the park sim purists their taste, then definitely give this a go, either on PC or on consoles. You're going to have a great time with this game. And there we go, thank you very much for watching. Again, links are in the description if you want to see our coverage of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom over on the main channel. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about Jurassic World Evolution and as to whether you're going to pick this game up. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Rich from What Culture Gaming, and I will see you very soon.